Hello students, I am Manisha Raj. I take your paper Indian Economic Development since 1947. Up till now we have covered the three modules of the economy of the paper where we have seen the formation of the economy and we have seen that what were the basic hurdles in the growth prospects of the economy. Perhaps there has been certain hurdles just because of the given structure of the economy. So with time we need to have a future vision for the growth and development of the economy. Therefore the fourth and the last module of your course deals with the future prospects of India or India ahead. That means what next? Though we have planned all the objectives for the growth in the near future and we have calculated that to what extent we have resources with us and what is the gap area wherein we can borrow from external or internal sources. So for that matter, we know the performer on which the growth of India has to take place. Therefore, today we will be discussing about the future vision of India or future prospects of India. The foremost aspect of growth and development in India is that we want to change the structure from developing economy to a developed economy. Right now we are an emerging economy and for this we need to stabilize on a decent growth rate somewhere around 8 to 10%, good employment generation within the economy, higher level of per capita income, reduction in all the social stigmas like illiteracy, develop more medical facilities, have infrastructural basic requirements and all other aspects. So given that, we need to have again a future plan which talks about achieving these objectives so that we can easily transform our economy from an emerging nation to a developed nation and compare ourselves with the capitalist sector of the Western economy. Now for that matter, we have seen that slowly after the opening up of the economy, India has been moving towards capitalization, or to a certain extent we can say that it has been moving towards industrialization. Not exactly capitalization but industrialization, because in case of India, why we don't call it capitalism? Because industrialization is something which is proceeded in Indian economy from the private sector as well as by the government sector, and at times there are partnerships which is called as public-private partnerships. And this public-private partnership ventures have been most visible in case of the infrastructural projects. For example, the Golden Quadrilateral Road, which connects the 5 zones of India from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from Saurashtra to the east of the country. So all this is a vision to go ahead and achieve growth, and for this process we are talking about industrialization. Had we told capitalism, it basically meant that the private sector will be taking up the or governing or ruling the industrial sector. But in Indian case it is not so. The industrial sector is not ruled by the private sector, at least on paper. Rather it is governed by the government, and there are certain guidelines which takes care of the weaker section of the society, the small scale industries, the medium scale industries and so many things. So for that matter, we can say that we are moving towards industrialization and not towards capitalism. The next thing that is most important to discuss under the fourth model of India's vision is something called as PURA. P-U-R-A. This is an acronym which basically means providing urban amenities in rural areas. Now this was a concept which was first visualized by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who was the President of India and also a renowned scientist in the world economy. So he was the person who had talked about India Vision 2020. That means when he was president and he wanted to talk about the vision that India should go ahead for and achieve it by 2020. For that he was saying that maybe we will not be a developed country by that time, but definitely we will be moving at a faster pace to change the structure of the economy and become a developed economy sooner. Perhaps by 2025 we will be very much close to be called as a developed economy, wherein we can have higher growth rates of gross domestic product and higher per capita income. Now coming back to the concept of PURA, providing urban amenities in rural areas. This basically talks about the governmental role wherein the same urban amenities like good transportation and communication, good education system, good medical facilities, good job opportunities, and equality between men and women, as well as basic administrative requirements of the rural areas are to be served in the rural areas, which are at par with the urban amenities. So basically Pura was something which was visualized by Dr. Kalam, wherein we can upgrade our rural economy to the standard which is very much similar or at par with the urban areas. Now in India we have been talking about the gap. That means we say India is shining, but we say that Bharat is not shining. So this means that there is a huge discrepancy in the regional inequality of the country and the income inequality of the country. Now through Pura, it will directly as well as indirectly support growth activities in the rural areas, maybe in terms of small scale industries, maybe in terms of better industrial products, agricultural produce, export, import, awareness among people through internet connections. All these etc. will lead to the growth of the economy, and with time perhaps there will be a change in the facilities that are being provided in the rural areas. Now if we talk about this urban facilities, then why is it so important? We need to understand the fact that India lives in villages, and given this fact, what has happened that in India the villages have still lagged much behind. Maybe the major export items or the manpower, the cheapest manpower comes from the rural areas, but then they haven't got the right return of growth and development. So the rural areas have to be framed in such a way, supported in the government by the government in such a way that industrialization or upgradation of the existing technology takes place within those areas, and slowly they happen to have the same facilities, so that the people are aware about the economic opportunities available in the country initially, and then they can think about the economic opportunities which are available for the people throughout the world. Because if they can migrate from a rural area to urban area, they can definitely move ahead and migrate to the Western economies as well in job opportunities. And now that will be feasible only when they are educated and they are aware about the opportunities. So for that matter, connection or connectivity in terms of print media, online media, and in terms of different newspapers, internet connection, everything is equally required, so that the people are aware about the facilities that the government provides them. For example, the Jan Dhan Yojana, or for that matter you can say that the opening up of the Aadhaar cards, or the skill development process that the government takes place through community development or technical training sessions given by the government. So first, the people in the rural areas have to be made aware about the available opportunities. Then the government should support these opportunities, and once the people start availing these opportunities, with time there will be growth and there will be a change in the structure of the rural economy. The rural economy will no more be the rural economy as it is visualized now, because there is a very typical notion about the rural areas that they are supposed to be downtrodden as well as the poor sections of the society. But to correct this notion, I would like to give an example of New Zealand. It is again an agricultural economy, but it is one of the most developed and peaceful and growing economy of the world. And this is, they bank on the agricultural produce and they bank on agricultural exports. So rural areas can still continue with their agricultural activity, because India's biggest economic opportunity lies in perhaps the agricultural sector. So when you try to tap these opportunities, imbibe them within you, then just like New Zealand or for example Australia and all, we can also excel in the growth rates of agriculture, and we can have higher per capita income in the rural area. Once the people start having higher per capita income, they'll save money, and for that saving they'll require the banking facilities. The banking resources will be channelized to further amenities that can be provided in the rural areas, and in turn a cycle of growth and development will take place within the country, which can boost these urban facilities to develop in the rural areas, and with time there will be expansion of the economic activity within the country, so that by 2020, according to the vision of Dr. Kalam, we are able to attend the basic amenities of life in rural areas. Because until recently we have been seeing that Indian population in the rural areas have been fighting for good drinking water, for electricity, for schools, for medical facilities. Now all these four are the basic requirements of life. Even if you don't have the decent throughout employment opportunities, but electricity, water facility, transport and communication, education and medical, these all things are to be provided in the rural areas first, so that through the government support people start having a basic standard of life, and then they move towards employment and education opportunities and further achieve higher growth rates. If this aspect is fulfilled, we can achieve Pura, that is providing urban amenities in rural areas, and that will further lead to growth in the country. And as we have already seen that agriculture is the biggest source of manpower as well as gross domestic product, then in that case perhaps not in gross domestic product, because it's biggest source of manpower, then we can later develop and become an huge economic force which can counter the Western growth aspects. So India can only become a growing economy, or only become a developed economy, when it takes care of rural areas. Until and unless the rural population are having a decent standard of living, good employment opportunities and good per capita income, there is less chance of people having better way of life, and then we can never become a developed country. So in order to become a developed country, the most important thing is that we have to reduce the gap between the urban and the rural areas in the Indian economy, and once the gap is reduced, we will achieve the target. Perhaps not in 2020, but sooner we will have it. So this is the basic concept of Pura. Thank you.